The stars barely pierced the rust-colored veil choking Earth's orbit. Dead satellites drifted like ancient bones, silent memorials to a forgotten empire. Captain Elara Vance adjusted her oxygen mask, boots clanking against the cracked plating of the Eidolon, humanity's last real starship. It wasn't a fleet, it wasn't an army. It was a ghost. And she was its final commander. Inside the dim bridge, consoles flickered with half-dead light. Static whispered through comms like old ghosts trying to speak. Status? Elara rasped, voice hoarse from breathing recycled air too long. First Officer Juno Reich, thin, exhausted, stitched together by more scars than flesh, leaned over the NAV console. Stable for now. The pulse signal, it's growing. Elara tightened her glove over trembling fingers. The pulse. The impossible heartbeat deep inside Earth's core, the last living secret of her ancestors. For 300 years, humanity had been written off, not just destroyed, but intentionally forgotten. The Galactic Syndicate had scrubbed their history, burned their monuments, dissolved their cultures into dust. But memory was harder to kill. Elara gazed through the fractured viewport. Below, Earth's broken continents shifted under blood-red clouds. Somewhere down there, beneath the dead soil, lay the mnemonic core, humanity's forbidden weapon. Time to wake her up, she whispered. Reich hesitated. If we do this, there's no going back. They'll come for us. Harder than ever. Elara smiled grimly. Good. Let them remember what it feels like to bleed. She keyed the ancient sequence, a code passed in bloodlines, smuggled through underground generations like a prayer. Nothing happened. Then the Eidolon shuddered. Deep below, Earth's crust cracked. A single pulse, low, seismic, radiated through space. It wasn't a weapon of mass destruction. It was something worse. It was a signal. And across the galaxy, sensors aboard 1,000 Syndicate warships flared crimson. Aboard the throne vessel Ascendancy, orbiting the outer sectors, High Warden Kareth received the alert. Origin? He demanded. The sensor director stammered. Sol system. Earth. The warden's eyes narrowed. Impossible. Earth is dead. He paced, taloned fingers tapping against polished metal. This is no mere beacon, he muttered. This is a call to arms. He turned, face like carved obsidian. Send the cleansing fleets. Burn whatever stirs. Meanwhile, back aboard the Eidolon, Reich wiped sweat from his brow. Multiple energy signatures inbound, he croaked. They're already coming. How long? Elara asked, voice cold. Hours. Maybe less. Elara stepped to the relic at the center of the bridge, a battered console adorned with Earth's flag, faded, almost unrecognizable. She placed her hand over it. Old technology responded, not to code, not to passwords, but to intention. The ship around them groaned, panels sliding away to reveal, not weapons. Stories. Holograms bloomed like wildfires. Children laughing under ancient oak trees. Soldiers dragging comrades through burning cities. Lovers weeping in rain-soaked streets. Scientists staring at the stars with naked hope. Human memory, distilled into light. Not data. Not facts. Feeling. The mnemonic core didn't fire missiles. It didn't launch fleets. It infected. Every ship, every sensor, every AI within range would begin to receive memories of humanity, raw, uncontrollable, overwhelming. A virus of the soul. Elara watched the bridge flood with images. A little girl chasing a kite. An old man cradling a violin. A mother dying with a smile so her child could live. Tears blurred her vision. This? Reich whispered. This is our retaliation? Elara nodded. Let them feel what they tried to erase. As they prepared the final broadcast, an alarm shrieked. News signal detected. Close. Too close. Reich snapped his head up. Elara, someone's already here. Out of the swirling debris, a Syndicate stealth ship materialized, black as space, bearing the emblem of the Zero Dominion. On its bridge, High Warden Kareth himself leaned forward, eyes gleaming. So, he murmured, they still cling to their disease. He smiled, slow and cruel. Prepare the mind shear. We'll rip the memories from them, one by one. Inside the Eidolon, Elara gritted her teeth. They're not waiting for backup, Reich said, voice tight. They're coming for our minds. The bridge shook as an invisible wave slammed into them, the first strike of the mind shear. Pain lanced through Elara's skull. Visions blurred, not hers, theirs. Empty voids. Mechanical coldness. Lifeless obedience. The Zeril didn't just kill. They unmade. Reich screamed, clutching his head. Elara staggered, the weight of humanity's stories pressing against her mind like 1,000 screaming ghosts. But she didn't let go. She pressed harder, forcing memory back against Oblivion. Lock the core, she gasped. Channel it into the beacon. Now! Reich, trembling, obeyed. The holograms condensed into a single sphere of burning light, pulsing with millions of human lives. A signal aimed not just at the enemy, but the galaxy itself. Earth's last scream. The stealth ship fired. A beam of raw null energy tore through the Eidolon's flank. Sparks rained down. Elara stumbled to the console, blood running from her nose. Ready? She whispered. Reich, teeth bared in agony, nodded. Do it! Elara slammed her hand down. The core ignited. The mnemonic core detonated, not with fire, not with shockwaves, but with memory. A silent explosion rippled through the blackness of space, unseen by sensors, unheard by ears. But felt. Across the syndicate ships hurtling towards Sol, hardened soldiers, Zeril, Kravanth, Drexy alike, froze mid-step. Images flooded their minds. A child's laughter. A mother's sacrifice. A soldier's silent prayer in the mud. They staggered. Some screamed. Some fell to their knees, clutching at their chests as foreign emotions, hope, grief, love, overwhelmed their sterile minds. They had evolved beyond such things, or so they believed. Aboard the Ascendancy, High Warden Kareth gripped the rail as his officers convulsed, screaming. Shield your minds! He barked, activating emergency neural dampeners. But it was too late. The contagion had already burrowed deep. Kareth's second-in-command, Subwarden RHYX, stumbled toward him, blood dripping from his nose. I feel. His voice cracked, an impossible thing for a Zeril. Kareth drew his ceremonial blade without hesitation and drove it through RHYX's heart. RHYX collapsed, whispering a final, forbidden word. Earth. Kareth yanked his blade free, furious. This is no weapon, he snarled. This is a plague. He turned to his comms officer, one of the few still standing. Target the source. I want that ship obliterated. And if memory survives, burn Sol itself. Aboard the crippled Eidolon, Captain Elara Vance fought to stay conscious. The beacon still pulsed, but the ship's systems were dying. Oxygen was thinning. Fires bloomed along the corridors. Reich coughed blood, dragging himself to her side. They're coming, he rasped. Elara nodded. She knew. The beacon had worked, maybe too well. Now, Earth's enemies would stop at nothing to erase even the memory of defiance. Through the cracked viewport, Elara saw the Ascendancy powering up its main cannon, a weapon capable of vaporizing an entire continent. This wasn't a battle anymore. It was execution. Deep in the ship's lower decks, a surviving engineer, a boy no older than 17 named Kale, stared at the backup systems. One option remained. The Overburn Protocol. It would channel every remaining ounce of the Eidolon's core into one final, desperate move, a transmission so powerful it would reach beyond the galaxy, carrying Earth's memory into every corner of existence. Kale keyed his comm to the bridge. Captain, I can do it, he said, voice shaking. But it'll kill the core. It'll kill the ship. It'll kill us. There was a long silence. Then Elara's voice, soft but iron strong. Do it, Kale. Make them remember. Kale closed his eyes, thought of the green hills his grandmother used to sing about, and pressed the final sequence. The Eidolon screamed as its engines overloaded. Lights burst. Bulkhead shattered. On the bridge, Elara and Reich held each other upright, watching the cannon of the Ascendancy fire, a beam of void energy lancing straight for them. But before it struck, the Eidolon shone like a second sun. The overburn ripped through space. A final flood of memory, blinding and unstoppable. Across the galaxy, Syndicate command centers collapsed into chaos. Governors clawed at their faces, seeing visions of burning cities, not theirs, but Earth's. Armies faltered. Civilizations paused, feeling a grief they did not understand, a rage they could not place. Songs, images, prayers, all of it, bled into the neural networks, the AI cores, the very infrastructure of the galactic order. Humanity had become a virus. Not a body. Not a planet. A legacy. Back on the Ascendancy, the High Warden Kareth howled as the core's flood slammed into him. He saw Earth through human eyes. He saw children dying for ideals. Soldiers standing on shattered walls, singing hymns to the stars. Lovers whispering goodbye before vanishing into flame. For the first time in his ancient life, Kareth felt something alien, something terrifying. Guilt. And worse, admiration. The Eidolon's bridge erupted into flames. The walls peeled away. Elara staggered, Reich already unconscious beside her. She looked at the dying consoles, the burned-out beacon. It was enough. She reached into her jacket, pulled out a battered photograph, a woman and child, faces smudged with soot but smiling. Her ancestors. Her reason. Elara pressed the photo to her heart and faced the firestorm. "Remember us," she whispered. The void cannon struck. The Eidolon was no more. But far beyond Sol, where no Syndicate ships could reach, faint signals whispered through empty systems. A lullaby sung to a dying child. A soldier's defiant last breath. A lover's final letter. Humanity had transcended flesh. It had become immortal memory. And somewhere, deep within the High Warden's mind, a crack appeared. Small. Almost invisible. But it would grow. Because you can kill a body. You can burn a world. But you cannot kill what refuses to be forgotten. High Warden Kareth sat alone on the bridge of the Ascendancy, blood crusted around his ears, vision flickering with phantom images. No more alarms blared. No more officers reported. They were gone, driven mad or dead, unable to withstand the tide of memory that had flooded through the ship like a second Big Bang. Kareth gripped the arms of his command throne, breathing in sharp, shuddering gasps. In the black void outside, Earth's ruins smoldered. A dead world. A dead species. And yet, he couldn't stop seeing them. A woman clutching a newborn against her chest. A boy laughing as he painted a broken wall. An old man saluting a flag that no longer existed. Kareth screamed and drove his talons into his skull, but the visions only grew stronger. Across the galaxy, the Syndicate fractured. Governors defected, overwhelmed by dreams of liberty they had never lived. Whole fleets mutinied, ships painting the name, Terra, across their hulls in languages long dead. Worlds once thought tamed now burned with uprisings, their people infected by the impossible idea that suffering could birth something beautiful. The contagion had spread beyond control. And it wasn't over. In the darkness between stars, something else stirred, something left behind by Earth's final cry. Hidden satellites, ancient vaults, deep space transmissions, seeds planted centuries ago by dying hands. Messages meant not for Earth's survivors, there were none, but for the universe. They began to activate, one by one, whispering to the stars. Remember. 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 Inside the ruined Ascendancy, a single figure approached Kareth through the smoke. A human form, or the echo of one, flickering in and out of reality like a dying flame. It was Captain Elara Vance. Or what remained of her. Kareth snarled, summoning the last dregs of his power, but she simply watched him with sad, burning eyes. "You thought you could erase us," she said softly. You thought if you'd burned our bodies, forgot our names, we would die. She stepped closer. The air around her shimmered with memories, millions of them, a tidal wave he could not withstand. But we were never just flesh, Warden, she whispered. We were the stories you told your children to fear. Her voice dropped to a blade's edge. We are the nightmare you can never wake from. Kareth collapsed, clawing at his temples as the human memories devoured him. He saw Earth's wars, Earth's tragedies, Earth's miracles. He lived every dying breath, every desperate prayer, every final kiss goodbye. And as he screamed, the universe watched. And remembered. Far away, on a barren colony world at the edge of Syndicate control, a small girl looked up at the stars. In her tiny hand she clutched a crude toy, a figure with blue eyes and a rough, stitched smile. She didn't know where the memory had come from. She didn't know the name, Earth. But as she stared into the night, she whispered the word without understanding it. Home. The mnemonic core's true weapon was never destruction. It was hope. The one thing more contagious than fear. The one thing that could survive death itself. In the ashes of Earth, something beautiful had been born. A truth that even gods could not kill. Humanity was gone. But humanity would never die. Final scene. The camera pans slowly across the dead Earth, up into the ruined orbit, then outward, through broken Syndicate ships, past burning fleets, further and further, until the stars themselves seemed to pulse to a new rhythm. In the cold silence of the universe, a final, whispered message echoes. We were here. We mattered. We will always matter.